Does this Lasat look lonely to you? Want to fix that? We got him a boyfriend! Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are going to be opening up from Star Wars Rebels in the Vintage Collection, Alexander, no E at the end there. Make sure you get that right, no E. Alexander KALLUS. Agent KALLUS from Star Wars Rebels. One of the great characters, in my humble opinion, from Rebels. Very glad they added this guy to the line. You know, I was saying last week, I didn't back the Ghost. I'm really starting to regret that. I mean, I know you can actually, one of the reasons people are not buying 11 gunships is that apparently you can get the Ghost for a pretty reasonable price on the secondary market. So maybe if I can ever solve the problem of space, haha, VC 365. Am I crazy? They still haven't announced 375. I thought for sure that was going to be something at Comic-Con or something HasLab related. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Here comes 365 Agent KALLUS. That is a big stick. Pretty good film out there. Once again, as is the way, they've done an interpretation of an animated character as a not animated action figure. As I've said before, consider that to be unnecessary. I'm fine with animated styling, but that's pretty good. I mean, he looks mean as hell, which is what you want from your evil Imperial agent who is secretly really deeply regretful for that genocide that he did one time. Yep. I mean, if you're like me, you know the main reason, the minute you saw this guy, you were like, Star Wars is back, baby, is them mutton chops. Look at those things. Good since 2014, still amazing. Perfectly captured in the Vintage Collection. I'm going to go ahead and assume, again, there are people who are better at this than I am, that there's a lot of part reuse on this action figure because it is ultimately just an Imperial body, although he does have that armor piece there. But otherwise, you know, it's just an Imperial officer body, so I'm assuming they got a bit of reuse out of it. But, you know, I can't complain about that because there's, you know, he's certainly a very distinct character, distinct color profile. Again, armor. Mutton chops. Like, what more can you ask for? I guess you could ask for a gun. He doesn't come with a blaster, which seems like a bit of a miss for any Imperial officer, even though the accessories he does come with rule. Someone's going to write in now and tell me that if you break open his staff, there's a gun inside. I missed something on Crosshair last week, which is that his rifle actually splits in two and you can put it on his backpack. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a really long stick. It, of course, differs from Zeb's, but they will go together, I assume, very nicely, especially in color balance, because this one's electricity nodes are yellow. Boop. Look at that tough customer. Tell me that guy doesn't mean business. He does come with one more thing, which is his very distinctive Imperial helmet, another really nice piece of the character design from the show. Be very specific about positioning his face in the middle of the face hole, but otherwise, yeah. That is a good looking fig. I like that guy. That's pretty good. And again, even though we know that they are secretly in love with each other, they are intended to do, and this is what I want to see right here, Hasbro. I like to see figures that work with other figures. These two are obviously in love with each other, but they're intended to fight one another, and they've been given complementary items and positions, and they're going to look so good standing on the shelf together. That is great work. That is what we want. I genuinely wonder what is coming from Rebels in the Vintage Collection. There's quite a bit of Rebels apparently coming, but I mean, I'm sure we're going to get variants of the main characters, because why would they have invested all that money in the molds for the Ghost if not to give us 6 or 7 different versions of each of those? But I'm kind of at a loss to think who, you know, like the Season 3 Ezra, which I guess is Ahsoka Ezra, well, one of the Ahsoka Ezras, really good figure. Season 2 Kanan, really good figure. I dig my Zeb is a fantastic figure from a posability standpoint. I really do regret not having the smiling face version from the Ghost. So I'm sure we're going to see a Zeb in next year's Mandalorian and Grogu line. And maybe another KALLUS as well. Would you guys like to see a Rebel clothes version of KALLUS from Season 4? Let me know in the comments. And otherwise, I will be back next week with another of the most recent figures. They're just rattling off the shelves this month. And I'm looking forward to opening. I think it's going to be Ventress next. See you then.